The House of Representatives will now come to order. All in the chamber and gallery will rise as we begin our day with prayer by the gentleman from Taney County.
Let us pray. Father, we come to you in faith, asking for wisdom as we navigate the legislation that you've put before us today. Help us to represent you as we represent the people in thought, word, and deed. Give us a spirit of discernment as we make decisions to help us to remember that we are here to serve others, not self. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job. Did you make anything last night? 16 bucks. There you go. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Greene County.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I move for the approval of the House Journal for the 29th day, Wednesday, February 26, 2025, and I ask for a roll call vote.
The gentleman from Greene County has moved for the approval of the House Journal for the 29th day, Wednesday, February 26, 2025, and asks for a roll call vote. Are there any additions or changes to the Journal? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the gentleman's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 136 and the nays being 0, the gentleman's motion is approved. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be points of personal privilege.
Points of personal privilege. Gentleman from Morgan.
A moment of personal privilege today for Black History Month.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, first I would like to thank the Black Caucus for this privilege. I would like to tell people about James Lloyd Shipley of Tipton, Missouri. James Shipley died in 2022 at the age of 99. He was the last living member of the Tuskegee Airmen in Missouri. James was born in Tipton and spent all of his life there except for the time during his military service during World War II. He attended the Harrison School, which was a school for African American children during this time of segregation. He attended the school until he was 17 years old. Since the Harrison School was not accredited for high school graduation, he could not graduate there and not receive a diploma. For this, he would have to travel to Sedalia, which is about 30 miles away, but his family did not have transportation or the funds to send him there, so he did not officially graduate from high school. When he was 19 years old, an Army recruiter in the Tipton post office informed him of an opportunity to serve his country in a newly forming all-black Army Air Corps. This was during a time when many did not believe that African Americans should be in the United States Armed Forces. But Jim signed up anyway. He wanted to serve his country. In 1942, Jim left Tipton and traveled to Tuskegee, Alabama for training. His unit became known as the Tuskegee Airmen. Jim and his brave fellow airmen were dedicated to achieving victory despite working in segregated conditions and being treated as second-class citizens more often than not. Jim said he and his group had to work harder than anyone else. He was a crew chief and mechanic for the 332nd Fighter Group, known as a Red Tail Squadron due to the colors on the planes they flew, the P-51 Mustang. Jim Shipley took great pride in his work and in serving his country. He was more proud that every plane they serviced made it back safely. He loved being an aircraft mechanic during the war. James was a Christian man who loved God, his family, and his country. He was very humble and modest, never bragging about his service, but he did agree to tell his story to many school groups over the time. Upon returning home, his quest to be an independent farmer and care for his family he was successful at raising and butchering hogs for many years. James and his wife Mildred also operated and owned a gas station in Tipton on Highway 50 during the 1950s. He was an excellent mechanic. He drove a school bus, but later was most known for selling fireworks from a tent along Highway 5 south of town. No matter what he did, he took pride in his work and always did his best. James dedicated countless hours to his community and church. He was a faithful member of the Prairie Grove Baptist Church for over 80 years and served as a Sunday school teacher, a church deacon, and a Sunday school superintendent. He and his wife served as the directors of the Central District Church Camp for over 15 years, touching the lives of many adults and youth. He served on various community boards and committees. I could go on and on about the recognitions he received, the appearances he made, and about a book that was written about his life. But how much he was loved by his community can be best described by explaining the amount of love that poured out upon his death in July of 2022. The entire town of Tipton and surrounding areas came together to honor him. For his funeral, organizers from the Flagman's Mission Continues rolled into town, where they were joined by about 50 or 60 volunteers, including myself, and the placement of over 700 3-foot by 5-foot American flags on 6.5-foot poles began. We lined both sides of the streets around Tipton, around the church parking lot, and Highway B for approximately 2 miles outside of town on each side. This was because this was a route the funeral procession was taking to in Jim's internment in the Missouri State Veterans Cemetery in Higginsville. The services for James Shipley overflowed as hundreds and hundreds of people came to pay their respects. 14 individuals spoke at his funeral, and as it was the time that the whole town came out to say goodbye to Jim. He was a man everyone loved, admired, and respected. Tipton was not only he was not only a friend and neighbor to everybody in Tipton, they was like a family member. After the funeral, it was announced that we would begin efforts to name a portion of U.S. Highway 50 in Monotol County the Sergeant James Shipley Memorial Highway. Approximately $5,000 was raised in only 2 days. This highway dedication occurred on September 23rd, 2023, and was attended by a large number of his family and friends. Former Representative Richard Brown joined me in speaking and unveiling the roadside signs. Whenever you travel on Highway 50 through Monotol County, please notice the signs on each side of the road designating the Sergeant James Shipley Memorial Highway. James was a trailblazer. He cleared the way for blacks who followed in his footsteps. He was a national treasure and a member of our greatest generation. And now he has earned his last set of wings he will ever need. Mr. Speaker, I ask that we applaud the life of Sergeant James Shipley and recognize that he dedicated his life to service in his church, his community, his state, and his nation.
Thank you, gentlemen. Further points of personal privilege. Gentleman from St. Louis City, District 78.
I rise for a point of personal privilege in regards to Black History Month.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Missouri House, honored guests, and fellow Missourians, I stand before you today to recognize Black History Month and reflect upon the trailblazers who have shaped our nation and our communities. Today, I want to shine a light on an extraordinary leader whose impact rippled far beyond Missouri, the late, the great Bertha Gilkey. Bertha Gilkey was more than an activist. She was a force of nature. Born in Arkansas in 1948, she grew up witnessing the struggles that many black families face in public housing. But instead of accepting the status quo, she set out to change it. Gilkey believed in the power of self-determination, and she dedicated her life to transforming public housing from places of despair into communities of dignity, opportunity, and pride. At just 17 years old, she led a historic tenant strike at the Pruitt-Igoe Housing Project, demanding respect, autonomy for the residents who lived there. Gilkey believed in empowering tenants to take control of their futures. As a founder of the National Tenants Organization, she helped establish resident-run management programs across the country. From St. Louis to Washington, D.C. and beyond, her impact was felt in countless housing projects, ensuring that black families had access to safe, clean, and well-maintained homes. Through her leadership, she helped shape federal housing policies, inspired generations of activists to fight for self-sufficiency and economic empowerment. Her work demonstrated that true progress comes not just from policy changes, but from grassroots activism and community leadership. Bertha Gilkey's legacy lives on in every neighborhood that she has uplifted by her work. She reminds us that no matter our circumstances, we have the power to create change from within. Let us remember her words, her passion, her unwavering commitment to justice, and let us take up the mantle to keep moving forward, ensuring that every Missourian, every American can live with dignity, security, and hope. So today, tomorrow, and onward, we can all be fired up because we're tired up and we ain't taking it anymore. So with that, I'd just like to thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let's celebrate Bertha Gilkey.
Further points of personal privilege. Seeing none. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next order of business will be introduction of special guests.
Introduction of special guests. Gentleman from New Madrid.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, gentlemen.
To your right and my left, it's my pleasure this morning to introduce part of a great group of Southeast Missourians that came up to talk to you all, to be here for the Taste of the South last night. We have Miss Sarah Ezel, New Madrid County, Scott County Economic Development Specialist, our New Madrid County Sheriff, Mr. Joey Higgerson, and his better half, Jamie. Bree Hilleman, Mississippi County Economic Development Specialist, and Miss Marcy Lawson, Sykes and Chamber Director, and she's also our President and CEO of our Economic Development efforts, and the Mayor of my hometown, Mr. Nick White. So if we make them feel welcome, please.
Welcome to the House. Lady from Barton County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my right and your left in the upper gallery in the red coats, I have representatives from the Lamar Career Technical Center with me, and a special shout out to their director, Brian Gillis, who will now be the upcoming new superintendent of Lamar School District. So please make them feel welcome.
Welcome to the House. Lady from Cass County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guest.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you. Today, to my left and your right, I have two very special guests from Lafayette County. Kay Hofflander is a friend. She is a business owner. She is very committed to her community and actively involved, and she's a big Mizzou fan. We also have Steve Solomon, and he is very active in his community and gives back every day. So please give them a very warm welcome. Thank you.
Welcome to the House. Lady from Dunklin County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guest.
Proceed, lady.
Mr. Speaker, to your right and my left, between columns 4 and 5, we have several members from the city of Kennett. We have Mark Bryant, who is a councilman, Randy Carter, councilman. We have the mayor, Jake Crafton, Melissa Combs, who is our economic developer. We have Christian Johnson from the Chamber of Commerce, Miss Jan McElrath, who is our Kennett city clerk, and Mr. Jim Grabing, the Boot Hill Regional Planning member. So we would ask that you make them feel welcome today at the Capitol.
Welcome to the House.
Thanks, sir.
Gentleman from Cape.
Mr. Speaker, I have two special guests to introduce, please.
Proceed, gentlemen.
To your right, my left, between the 5th and 6th columns, if they can move up there, I have members from my Cape Girardeau County, Jackson, which would be the county seat there. And I want to make sure I get them all introduced here. Brian Garreau, Jackson Area Chamber of Commerce, Janet Clifton from the Chamber of Commerce, Mike Seaball Appraisal, Beth Keller from St. Francis Healthcare System, Matt Winters, City of Jackson, Scott Smith, Superintendent. They came up for a Taste of the South last night, and I'd like for the body to make them feel welcome. And then I have a second one real quick then. Also, I forgot to mention that our county has a very competitive school district down there, and Jackson did beat Cape Central in football last year. I just want to point that out to make sure that they get that correct thing there. All right, second one I have, and everyone here in the chamber knows him, former Senator and former Rep. Wayne Wallingford is back in here, and I want the body to recognize him. He's a great man.
Welcome back to the House. Further introductions, gentleman from Cape.
Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On your right and our left, between the 3rd and 4th columns, we have some special guests from the city of Cape Girardeau. We're blessed to have our president and CEO of the Cape Chamber, Mr. Rob Gilligan, his vice president, Whitney Quick, and our assistant city manager, Trevor Poley. If the body make him feel welcome, I'd appreciate it.
Welcome to the House. Gentleman from Franklin County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to give a special guest recognition.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. On your right, Mr. Speaker, and on my left, and underneath the column of honor, is some building principals from my area. Rob Hawk from Truman, Stephanie Grissom from Rolla, Chelsea Johnson from Rolla, Tori Snitka from Rolla, Allison Keck from Dixon, Kevin Johnson, Devin Johnson from Owensville, Pat Burke from Sullivan, Brian Witt from Bourbon, and then, of course, one of the legends of Union High School, one of the greatest Wildcats of all time, my good friend, humble servant, principal of my alma mater, Union High School, the great Josh Hall is here today. If you'd give them all a warm welcome, I'd appreciate it.
Welcome to the House. Gentleman from St. Louis City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak from a microphone, not my own.
The gentleman from St. Louis City, District 78, is recognized.
Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. So to your left and my right, between the pillars of law, we have a couple of familiar faces that you all might recognize that were here yesterday, and they came back today, and they're also receiving this resolution from the House for Bertha Gilkey. They're longtime residents of the Cochran neighborhood within my district and longtime friends of Bertha. So I just want to present this to them, and I wish the House can make them feel welcome.
Welcome to the House. Gentleman from Scott County.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. To introduce special guests.
Proceed, gentlemen.
First of all, Mr. Speaker, I'd thank everybody in the chamber that attended the Taste of the South last night. We had a tremendous event and appreciate all your support. In support of that, we had a group from Scott County that came up to visit, and I'd like to introduce them. Over on your right and our left, we have Taylor Deere, who is our Director of Chamber of Commerce, Zach Fayette, Bank President from the First State Bank Trust, Boyd Green, who is on our Board of Directors of the Sykes and Economic Development, Sean Howard, who is on the Sykes and Chamber Board of Directors, Mr. Jay Lancaster, who is our Director of Public Works, Mandy Leibel, who is on our Board of Tourism, Mr. Mike Marshall, who is the Coalition Chairman for I-57, and Andy McGill, which is our School Superintendent. Also, we have very special guest, Mr. Dustin Whitworth, which is the City Manager of Scott City, and he brought with him a very special guest, his son Dawson, first trip to the Capitol, He actually got a free get-out-of-school pass today from Senator Bean. So welcome, Dustin. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lady from Jackson County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From a microphone not my own, to introduce a special guest.
Proceed, lady.
I would like to take this time and recognize our special guest to your left, in between columns 2 and 3, Colonel Reginald L. Bassa, Sr., retired from the United States Air Force.
Hang on, lady. I ask for the attention of all in the chamber to the lady that is speaking. Please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, lady.
Absolutely. So again, I want to recognize Colonel Reginald L. Bassa, Sr. of the United States Air Force, a Tuskegee Airman pilot and former Air Force Base Deputy Wing Commander. I would like to welcome him to the House, and please give him a warm welcome as well as an early happy birthday.
Welcome to the House. Thank you for your service. Further introductions. Gentleman from St. Genevieve.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak from a microphone not my own.
Proceed, gentlemen.
And to introduce a very special guest.
Proceed.
Thank you very much. To your left, in between the second and third columns, or the virtue columns, I have with me today Crystal Jones, who is the Executive Director of the Perry County Economic Development Authority, and also the champion who brought up the donuts to the Taste of the South last night. So I would love for everybody to show her appreciation, show her some warm love, and give her a round of applause. Thank you.
Welcome to the House. Lady from St. Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you. To my left and your right, between the virtue columns, I have 3 guests from my region. Candy Hente is in the middle. She is the director of the Farmington Regional Chamber of Commerce. She also used to serve at the Pregnancy Resource Center in our area. To her left is Dr. Ryan Long, principal at North County High School. I serve with his wife at Monarch Family Resource Center. And then on Candy's right is John Boyd, principal from St. Genevieve High School. They're all a blessing to our region. I would like the body to make them feel welcome, please.
Welcome to the House. Lady from St. Louis County. 75.
Which one? 85th. I just like to thank everyone for attending the Missouri Black Caucus Black History program last night. It was standing room only, and we appreciate all the ones that attend, and I know there's a lot of other events was going on. Thank you.
Lady from St. Louis County, District 75.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Points of privilege.
Proceed, lady.
Today, I would like to take a moment to honor a young life tragically taken too soon on June 17, 2022.
Would all in the chamber please direct their attention to the lady from St. Louis?
Thank you. Okay, so today I would like to take a moment to honor a young life tragically taken too soon on June 17, 2022. Preston Jones lost his life to gun violence. In his memory, the Breaking Generational Poverty Foundation was founded with a clear and intentional mission to combat gun violence and improve the quality of life to our youth. As we reflect on Preston's legacy, I ask the House to join me in wishing Preston Tink Jones a heartfelt happy 23rd birthday. Additionally, let us extend our strength and support to his mother, Precious Jones, his 2 brothers, Princeton and Ezo, his children, Preston Jr. and Pressure, his grandmother, Paula, his uncle, Philip, and his late uncle, Paul. Finally, I ask for a moment of silence in honor of Preston Jones and the lasting impact he had on his family and community. Thank you.
Would all in the chamber observe a moment of silence for Preston Jones? Thank you. Further introductions. The Budget Chairman, the gentleman from McDonald, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some special guests to your right, my left, between, let's see, the second and third columns. We have from CSG South, we have here the director, Lindsay Gray, one of our policy analysts, Katie Lee, and the director of marketing and programs, Angel Townsma. And I introduced them yesterday, and they were in the building, but they're actually here in the chamber with us today. So I wanted to make sure and introduce them to you again. CSG South, which Missouri is a member of, is a nonpartisan member organization of the 15 southern states, and they act as an extension of our office, Mr. Speaker. They do policy briefs, they do programming. They do conferences, including the Southern Legislative Conference, which is in Birmingham, Alabama. And we hope that all our members and many of our colleagues in the Senate are able to join us in Birmingham, Alabama on July 19th through the 23rd of this year. They're headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. We're glad to have them here in Missouri. Please go meet them, learn how they can be a resource to you in your office, and please welcome them again today.
Welcome to the House. Lady from Howell.
That was kind of pathetic, but good morning, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guests, please.
Proceed, lady.
I would like to introduce, up in the upper gallery to my right, we have the principal from West Plains Elementary, Virginia Uphouse, teachers Sabrina Parrish and Haley Falterman, and additional staff and a whole bunch of fourth graders from Howell County. So please make them feel welcome.
Welcome to the House. Further introductions. Seeing none, the gentleman recognizes the gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be first reading of House bills and House joint resolutions.
The clerk will read the House bills and joint resolutions.
House Bill number 1498, introduced by Willenkamp, an act relating to tax credit for critical revitalization property. House Bill number 1499, introduced by Willenkamp, an act relating to a tax credit for motion media production projects. And House Bill number 1500, introduced by Peters, an act relating to the practice of applied behavioral analysis.
Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be reports from committee.
The clerk will read the reports from committee.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Fiscal Review, to which was referred House Committee Substitute House Joint Resolutions 23 and 3, begs leave to reports, examine the same, and recommends that it do pass. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Fiscal Review, to which was referred House Committee Substitute House Bill 247, begs leave to report, has examined the same, and recommends that it do pass. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Fiscal Review, to which was referred House Bill 269, begs leave to report, has examined the same, and recommends that it do pass. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Fiscal Review, to which was referred House Bill 875, begs leave to report, has examined the same, and recommends that it do pass. And Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Fiscal Review, to which was referred House Committee Substitute House Bills 177 and 469, begs leave to report it examined the same and recommends that it do pass.
Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be House bills for third reading, and I ask that you recognize the gentleman from Jasper for a motion on House Committee Substitute for House Bill 247.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Jasper County. For what purpose does the gentleman rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Committee Sub for House Bill 247 be third read and passed.
The gentleman from Jasper County has moved for the third reading and passage of House Committee Substitute for House Bill 247. Gentleman from Jasper County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So as we remember from when this bill was perfected, this is dealing with motor vehicle registrations. And one of the most important provisions in this was the ability to get a 5-year registration on your vehicle and save you some trips to the license office. During the perfection process, there were a couple amendments added, which those amendments allows for the license plate for the Missouri Conservation Heritage Foundation emblem license plate. It also includes all veterans are able to get veteran license plates, and we are adding the Space Force as one of the military branches, so you get a license plate referring to the Space Force. One other provision, currently safety inspections are required for vehicles 10 years and older with 150,000 miles, and this would move that provision to 2012 and older vehicles, and the 150,000 miles stays the same. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I will be happy to answer any questions or renew my motion.
Discussion on House Committee Substitute House Bill 247. Gentleman from St. Louis County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To inquire of the bill handler, please.
Does the bill handler yield?
I do.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Great explanation of the bill. So this bill isn't going to really change revenue. There'll be some up and down with it, but effectively, if I'm buying 5 years, I'm still buying 5 years, correct?
Yes. If your license per year costs you $30, it would just be 30 times 5. You would pay $150 and not have to go back to DMV for that period of time.
And this isn't for all vehicles.
No, this
isn't for all vehicles ever made. You can get a 5-year renewal. This is for a new vehicle moving on.
Yes, your vehicle has to be no older than 6 years old.
Absolutely correct. I like your bill. I mean, I think particularly for folks that live far away from a license area, this is going to be a big deal. And so as we know, it's difficult, maybe a couple-hour drive to get to a license office nowadays. So I support your bill, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Seeing none, the gentleman from Jasper County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The gentleman from Jasper County has renewed his motion for the third reading and passage of House Committee Substitute for House Bill 247. All those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 151, the nays being 2. House Committee Substitute House Bill 247 is third read and passed. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the lady from Jefferson for a motion on House Committee Substitute for House Bills 243 and 280.
The chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson County. For what purpose does the lady rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Committee Substitute HB 243 and 280 be third read and printed.
The lady from Jefferson County has moved for the third reading and passage of House Committee Substitute for House Bills 243 and 280. Lady from Jefferson County.
This bill, HB 243 and 280, is the dissolution of marriage while pregnant. What this bill allows is it allows women to file for divorce and finalize, if they choose to, during the pregnancy. This also allows men, if their wife might be pregnant with someone else's child, to also file for divorce and grant that divorce as they should. That's about it. That's really what it does.
Discussion. Gentleman from Cole County.
To speak on the bill.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, so often on this floor, there are 163 of us that are on this floor. We all have our own stories to tell. And so often we don't get to hear those stories. But the impact that a story has on the passage of a bill means so much. And when we can personalize it to our own lives and see where we've come from that point to this point, it takes a lot of courage. It also puts yourself being very vulnerable. And so I appreciate the lady telling us her story, and I encourage everyone to vote for this bill, and I hope we all vote for this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Clay County, District 15.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To inquire of the bill handler.
Excuse me, gentlemen?
To inquire of the bill handler.
Does the lady from Jefferson yield?
I do.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sitting on Children and Families under the wonderful leadership of our chairwoman from St. Louis and our ranking member from St. Louis as well, I urge the body to unanimously support this bill. I met with the bill handler shortly after it was presented in committee. I indicated to you that there might be some, I love the bill, there might be some practical concerns in the legal community. After that meeting, I did some more communicating with my colleagues, judges, and attorneys, and I just want to tell you right now, I was wrong to a large degree. And I want to say that to your face, eye to eye, in front of the entire body. This bill is going to have a tremendous impact, provide clarification to the legal community, judges and attorneys, and our clients. You stood in the middle of this chamber and told your story as a United States Marine, Afghanistan veteran. What you did the other day was the bravest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I hope this body unanimously votes yes on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further discussion. Lady from Jefferson County.
To inquire of the bill handler.
Does the lady from Jefferson County yield?
I do.
Proceed, ladies.
First, I want to thank you for bringing this bill forward. Second, I just want to mention, just to remind you, that one of your constituents called me last year. And he was a gentleman that was married, and he knew that his wife had an affair, and it was clear to both the husband and the wife in this instance that the child was not his. Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Yeah, and I remember him telling me that in his situation, she was pregnant, so he could not get a divorce. During that time, he was having to house both her and the other children, the other children were his, so that was fine. But he was paying for all of her medical bills for this pregnancy. He was paying for that. Of course, his insurance was helping, but that was his responsibility. And he told me that he was responsible for all the charges that would come out of having the baby, all the hospital fees, everything that led up to the baby being born and the birth of the baby. And, of course, he also told me that the baby could be given his name and they could list him as the father, and then he would have to go through paternity tests to get his name removed from that. He was very distressed because this was very expensive. There was no way for him to get that money back. And I know that he's very, very pleased that you're passing this bill. It may not help him, but he's very happy that you're doing this. So I wanted to just let you know that this is helping not just women, it's also helping men, and it's helping men that are your constituents. So thank you for bringing this forward.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
To speak on the bill.
Proceed, lady.
I completely agree with everything that this bill does, and I also just want to remind the body that I have a bill that's been filed that would allow for an alienation of affection, which would allow that person to be responsible for those costs of having to pay for the birth of a baby that wasn't his. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Further discussion. Further discussion on the bill. Seeing none, the lady from Jefferson County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The lady from Jefferson County has renewed her motion for the third reading and passage of House Committee substitutes for House Bills 243 and 280. All those in favor of approving the lady's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 155 and the nays being 0, House Committee substitutes for House Bills 243 and 280 are third read and passed. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the gentleman from Greene for a motion on House Bill 875.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 875 be third read and passed.
The gentleman from Greene County has moved for the third reading and passage of House Bill 875. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We discussed this bill at length the other night. I don't have any need to rediscuss it, but I will point out that on the Senate side, Senator Brad Hudson has the exact same bill. The Democrat senators asked to add an amendment that deals with Healy v. James, quotes that Supreme Court decision, and Senator Hudson has no problem with that. I have no problem with that either. I anticipate that version coming over here very shortly, and I would hope that we could support this together bipartisan on this side of the rotunda as well. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'm open for discussion from anybody.
Discussion on House Bill 875. Gentleman from St. Louis County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I inquire of the bill handler?
Does the gentleman from Greene County yield?
I do.
Proceed, gentleman.
Thank you. I hate to be the one to put an end to the love fest this morning. I was having a good time. Gentlemen, you made some remarks during the debate on perfection about an incident that happened at Southeast Missouri State at SEMO. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, it's my understanding that the administration threatened to discredit the two different organizations because the administration did not agree with their particular ideological belief system.
Could you be a little more specific? What happened?
The court case was never brought to court. They abandoned the effort when the administration decided that they would not push forward with that, and they settled out of court. And so there's not a lot of detail to which I'm privy, but I do know that it was both of the organizations were religious organizations.
So there's not. It sounds like you don't know the details.
No, I don't have them directly here in front of me.
Can you? Sorry, we're good. This way. It's okay. It's okay.
So close.
Hey. Okay, so you don't have the details in front of you. Can you tell me what you remember? I mean, it doesn't have to be, super specific.
Well, like I said, I have it here on my phone. I'm
I'll
happy
wait
to
for
pull
you.
it up while
Okay,
you
great.
do that.
Okay.
So the issue was that the individuals had two separate organizations that were threatened to have their organization removed from campus because they would not allow individuals who do not believe the way that they did to be as part of their leadership organization.
Okay, so I guess I'll tell you what I heard, and I don't know if it's true because I just heard it word of mouth. I heard it was a gay student who was a member of the Baptist Club, and the Baptist Club didn't want the gay student to be a member of the Baptist Club. Is that what happened?
No, I don't think that was the case. I think what took place was there was a gay student that wanted to be a part of the leadership of the Baptist Club.
Wanted to be a gay leader in the Baptist Club, and they didn't want the gay leader to be in the Baptist Club.
They did not.
Got it. Those were the details. Yeah, that checks out. Can I speak on the bill, Mr. Speaker, please?
Proceed, gentlemen.
Okay, yeah. What happened was there was a gay Baptist, and actually I forgot a question. I was going to ask the gentleman a question I've asked a lot of folks here. If you think you can be a gay and a Baptist or a gay and a Catholic or a gay and a Christian, hey, guess what? You can. You can. We do it all the time. I do it. I go to church every week. If you want a club with no gays allowed, just call it the No Gays Allowed Club. Don't call it the Baptist Club. and say, hey, by the way, there's this little asterisk that says no gay Baptists. Just call it the No Gays Allowed Club. You can do that with your free speech, sir. Susan B. Anthony, y'all love her. She's one of you. She said, I so distrust those people who know so well what God wants them to do because I notice that it always coincides with their own desires. Fascinating. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Lady from St. Louis City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak on the bill.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, we talked about this bill in length. I think that it's important for us to note that the language within this bill makes it very clear that an expression of your ideology or your thoughts is acceptable. So if I express a disdain for an individual group of people, and since we're in Black History Month, I'll bring it back to Black history, by deciding I want to put nooses all around a college campus, under this bill, I can do that as an organization without being reprimanded. That is literally how the bill is written, because it's an expression of my sincere belief. I know that we don't want to hear this often, and how we always say, oh, it always goes back to race, it always goes back to something, whatever. But the facts are, you'll never know where you're going until you know where you've been. And this bill is taking us backwards. Mr. Speaker, I hope that this bill doesn't get bipartisan support. I hope that the other party also realizes how dangerous this bill can be for scholars across the state of Missouri, and we're also setting a very dangerous precedent. I really, really hope that we actually look at what is written and not what the spirit of a bill is. Just because the spirit of something may be aligned doesn't mean that it's in black and white and it's written that way. And this bill is not written in that way. Mr. Speaker, I ask this body to vote no. I certainly will. Thank you.
Further discussion. Seeing none, the gentleman from Greene County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I close.
The gentleman from Greene County has renewed his motion for the third reading and passage of House Bill 875. All those in favor of approving the gentleman's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 108 and the nays being 47, House Bill 875 is third read and passed. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the lady from St. Charles for a motion on House Committee substitute for House Bills 850, 53, and 482.
The chair recognizes the lady from St. Charles County. For what purpose does the lady rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that HCS House Bill 850, 53, and 482 be third read and passed.
The lady from St. Charles County has moved to the third reading and passage of House Committee substitutes for House Bills 850, 53, and 482. Lady from St. Charles County.
Mr. Speaker, House Bill 850, 53, and 482 modernize Missouri's child care licensing system by empowering the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to issue the inspection license ensuring all facilities meet safety standards. This bill introduced temporary license for providers in good standing to expand or open new locations after meeting inspections, background checks, and training requirements. These facilities must go an unannounced inspection with 60 days, and temporary licenses are valid for up to 12 months. Facilities changing ownership will also face unannounced inspections. These balanced approaches supports child care expansion while prioritizing the safety and well-being of children, and I urge the body to support this legislation.
Discussion on the bill. Lady from St. Louis County, District 91.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill did come through the Committee on Professional Registration and Licensing. It is a great bill to expand the opportunities for child care in Missouri, which is much needed. So I thank the lady for bringing it forward, and I encourage the body to support it.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Taney County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To inquire of the bill handler.
Does the lady from St. Charles yield?
Yes.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning again, lady.
Good morning.
Good morning. I support this bill. I appreciate what you said yesterday. I just want to reiterate, this doesn't affect the aunt or grandmother down the street who may be babysitting a couple kids, that are related to them, or maybe a couple of the neighbors' kids
No,
come
sir,
over
it
on
does
Thursday.
not.
So this doesn't affect them. They're free to do that. This is simply those licensed facilities. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you very much, lady. I appreciate it. And Mr. Speaker, I will be supporting the bill.
Further discussion. Seeing none, the lady from St. Charles County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The lady from St. Charles County has renewed her motion for the third reading and passage of House Committee substitutes for House Bills 850, 53, and 482. All those in favor of approving the lady's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 155 and the nays being 0, House Committee substitutes for House Bills 850, 53, and 482 are third read and passed. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the lady from Buchanan for motion on House Bill 269.
The chair recognizes the lady from Buchanan County. For what purpose does the lady rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 269 be third read and passed.
The lady from Buchanan County has moved for the third reading and passage of House Bill 269. Lady from Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 269 is a three-pronged approach to address the child care crisis in our state. It incentivizes taxpayers, both businesses and individuals, to invest in the private child care industry so that all families can afford safe, reliable, quality care for their children. This bill supports home-based child cares, family home child cares, and center-based child cares. It allows communities to develop the child care that their community needs, not government. A yes vote will support Missouri's families as well as help grow Missouri's economy. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Discussion. Gentleman from Jackson County, District 23.
To speak on the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, gentlemen.
I follow the sentiments of the fine lady, and I would love the body to make sure that they vote yes on this. It makes sense for Missouri. It makes sense if we take care of our children, they'll make sure that we have a bright future ahead. So I implore the body to vote yes on this. Thank you.
Further discussion. Gentleman from St. Genevieve.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak on the bill.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I think we all recognize here that obviously child care is in a dire situation here in Missouri. It's killing families. But here, to be real honest, let me be clear. Tax credits aren't going to solve the problem. They may shift money around, but they don't address the root cause of why child care is so expensive and inaccessible in the first place, and that's obviously government regulation is the big problem here. Right now, Missouri families and small businesses, they're drowning in red tape. Our family child care providers are burdened with excessive licensing requirements. Thankfully, the previous bill helps that a little bit. It's also burdened with one-size-fits-all regulations and bureaucratic mandates that make it nearly impossible to open or expand a child care center in general. And yet, instead of removing these roadblocks that we all know is the real problem, this bill, it just puts a Band-Aid on it with tax credits. So picking winners and losers in the market and creating more dependency on government-approved incentives. So we don't need a complicated tax scheme to make child care more affordable. We really just need to get the government out of the way. So I think we need to cut unnecessary licensing regulations and keep hitting on that side of things. We need to allow small businesses and home-based providers to operate more freely, and we need to let the free market do what it does best, which is increase supply, lower cost, and give parents more choices. So tax credits are a Band-Aid. Deregulation is the cure. If we're actually serious about fixing child care here in Missouri, then I think we need to start by rolling back regulations, getting the government out of the way of our small business owners and child care providers. And with that, Speaker, thank you for the time.
Further discussion. Gentleman from St. Louis County, District 94.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speak on the bill.
Proceed, gentlemen.
I appreciate the gentleman's remarks. I look forward to your bills that will do some of the things you just said, and I think that those things would absolutely make this a better state. If anybody knows me, there's one thing that you'll absolutely always know is that I hate tax credits. I have stood up against tax credits ever since I've been here. But you know what I like more? I like growth. This state has been stagnant now forever. And if we keep on doing the same things we're doing, we will continue to be stagnant. One of the biggest detriments to business growth in this state is child care. I applaud the woman for bringing this bill forward. I hate tax credits, but we have to do something. And when we talk about all the other things we can be doing, let's do those things. But let's just not complain about them. If you've got a bill you want to put forward, I'll support it. But this is a good bill, and I ask everybody to vote for it.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Lafayette County.
Speak on the bills.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to applaud the bill sponsor in that we're doing it right. You know, she has got DED involved. They're going to look at this annually for compliance issues. You know, we've got a rate of return. And as you all heard me, I do not like the way tax credits are being done now. I will have a report that's available probably within a week to 10 days. We're going to have a meeting on. But again, you know, the tax credits are needed, as was said, and, you know, we've got a rate of return, so I'm going to support the bill. Thank you.
Further discussion. Lady from St. Louis County, 73.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak to the lady from Jackson, Engle District.
Does the lady from Jackson County yield?
I do.
Proceed, ladies.
Hi, lady.
Hi, lady.
First off, let me start by saying Band-Aids can be quite useful, and given the way that health care and health insurance is going in this country, that may be all we have soon.
Oof, yeah.
But I don't know about you. First of all, I believe the children are our future. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we need to teach them well and let them lead the way.
I agree with that. I believe we should show them all the beauty they possess inside.
Give them a sense of pride to make it easier.
Yeah. And I want to let the children's laughter remind us of how we used to be.
Yeah.
When did
I
you
decided long ago.
Yeah, I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. And if I fail, if I succeed, at least I have my dignity. And we can achieve this by approving the ladies' bill. If you believe the children are our future, if you believe this will help teach them well and help them lead the way and show them all the beauty they possess inside, you will join us in this vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lady from Cass County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To comment on the bill.
Proceed, lady.
I did explain a few things when the representative from the Shields District brought this bill forward. And I would like to urge the body to vote yes. I had a situation where a child care facility burnt down. And I had fathers and mothers calling me saying they could not go to work. So it absolutely is an economic issue. I would urge the body to please vote yes and get this done for the children, for our economy, and for the state. Thank you.
Further discussion, gentleman from St. Charles County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to briefly comment.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. Workforce development is one of the main pain points that business owners are experiencing in today's marketplace. And the reason that they're experiencing that in part has to do with the lack of affordable child care. And so spouses are literally making choices about who's going to perhaps forego part of their career in order to engage in the child rearing because it becomes so cost prohibitive to put children into child care. What this bill does is effectively help workforce and therefore help business owners. And if we can help business owners, that will be one of the best ways to help grow our economy and help make Missouri a better and more attractive place for business investment. I soundly support the bill, and I urge the body to vote for it. Thank you, sir.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the lady from Buchanan County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The lady from Buchanan County has renewed her motion for the third reading and passage of House Bill 269. All those in favor of approving the lady's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 120, nays being 34, House Bill 269 is third read and passed. Gentleman from Greene County.
Mr. Speaker, staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the lady from Dunklin for a motion on House Committee substitute for House Bills 177 and 469.
The chair recognizes the lady from Dunklin County. For what purpose does the lady rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Committee sub for House Bill 177 and 469 be third read and passed.
The lady from Dunklin County has moved for the third reading and passage of House Committee substitute for House Bills 177 and 469. Lady from Dunklin County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you recall, this legislation allows for coverage in the hearing instruments and cochlear implants for needy persons. As you know, hearing loss affects many people, including many of our own family members. The ability to hear and communicate is critical to a person's independence. And the benefits of these services will affect many Missourians. And with that, I close.
Discussion. Lady from St. Louis County, District 91.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To comment on the bill.
Proceed, lady.
I would just encourage the body to look around and see how many people in this body have hearing aids, because it's a lot. Yeah, raise your hands. And we know that those hearing aids provide an increased quality of life for the people that need them and have them. So I would encourage you to vote yes on this bill and make sure that everybody in Missouri can access the same devices that we have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion, lady from St. Louis County, District 71.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak on the bill.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We heard this in the Health and Mental Health Committee. There was no opposition. No one testified in opposition to this bill, and it passed out unanimously. And as someone who probably needs hearing aids, please vote yes on this bill.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the lady from Dunklin County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The lady from Dunklin County has renewed her motion for the third reading and passage of House Committee Substitute for House Bills 177 and 469. All those in favor of approving the lady's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 148 and the nays being 8, House Committee Substitute for House Bills 177 and 469 are third read and passed. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next order of business will be House Joint Resolutions for third reading, and I ask that you recognize the lady from Jackson for motion on House Committee Substitute for House Joint Resolutions 23 and 3.
The chair recognizes the lady from Jackson County. For what purpose does the lady rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Committee Substitute HJR 23 and 3 be read for the third time and passed.
The lady from Jackson County has moved for the third reading and passage of House Committee Substitutes for House Joint Resolutions 23 and 3. Lady from Jackson County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a reminder, House Committee Substitute HJR 23 and 3 will make the tax assessor position an elected position versus appointed, thus giving the people the vote as they can choose their assessor. And I close.
Discussion on the joint resolution. Gentleman from Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to speak in favor of the HJR.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. In Jackson County, we had some huge property tax increases. By now, everyone knows that. But really more important than that is that, frankly, our constituents have lost their faith in the process in Jackson County. Again, talking to folks in my district, Democrat, Republican, pretty much everyone, they've lost faith in that. And they would like to have the opportunity to vote for their assessor. Is it annoying? Is it annoying that we have to go to a statewide vote to make that happen? Yeah, it kind of is. But, it does allow for more direct representation for the folks in our district, for my constituents. It allows them to vote for their assessor just like they can in every single other county here except for the city of St. Louis. So, if you believe that the folks in Jackson County should have that direct representation, just like we do in almost every other county, then I urge you to vote yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion, gentleman from Benton County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to speak on the HJR. This HJR came through your Committee on Elections. It's a great HJR. It gets right to the point, gets accomplished what we're trying to do here, and I would encourage the body to all vote for it. Thank you.
Further discussion, gentleman from Franklin County.
To speak on the bill.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There was a similar bill in our tax policy, and I know our chair of that, the representative from the Coleman District, talks passionately about this issue. It's all about accountability to the taxpayers. What the lady from the Caton District is trying to do is bring accountability to what's happening to them, and we heard testimony after testimony of the ridiculous process that's going on through there, and there's no accountability with that. So the lady's doing a great job with that. Please support this bill, please.
Further discussion, gentleman from Taney County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to speak in favor of the legislation.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is an excellent bill. I think the body should vote for it. It deals with an assessor. And, Mr. Speaker, if I may, I'd like to make an assessment. I'd like to introduce to the body from your left, my right, in the upper gallery, I make an assessment that one of the greatest schools in the state of Missouri, the School of the Ozarks, is here to visit us today. I'd like the body to make them welcome.
Welcome to the House. Lady from St. Louis City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To inquire of the bill handler.
Does the lady from Jackson County yield?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I
Proceed,
yield.
ladies.
I'm over. Can somebody put that mic down for us so we can see? Well, I'm so glad that we just got that bill passed. Lady, really quickly, I just want to say thank you. We did a lot of great work in the Elections Committee to get this bill all the way here. And as a city resident and also a city representative, I truly appreciate not only your integrity and your work in trying to get this done, but you also gave your word and you stuck to that. And I truly appreciate you, and I truly appreciate the chair and everyone else who worked to get this to where it is. And I just wanted to tell you that on this floor. So I just want to let you know that I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, lady.
And I will be supporting your bill.
Thank you. Very kind words, and I truly appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Further discussion. Lady from Jackson County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I'm standing in opposition to the bill. I urge the body to vote no. This is not your fight. This is a fight that belongs in Jackson County. We want to continue to attain our autonomy within our own county. I urge you to vote no, because Jackson County still has some additional work that they need to do. This, again, is a fight between our executive, our Board of Equalization, and within our own body of Jackson County. What we want to do is we want to keep our problem at home with our citizens. Faith has not been lost in the community. We don't want to extend our power or authority onto other counties, because you don't want us to do that to you. So I urge you to vote no and against this particular bill so that we can settle this in Jackson County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Seeing none, the lady from Jackson County is recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I renew my motion.
The lady from Jackson County has renewed her motion for the third reading and passage of House Committee substitutes for House Joint Resolutions 23 and 3. All those in favor of approving the lady's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. Has everyone voted? The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 125 and the nays being 7 and 22 present, House Committee substitute for House Joint Resolutions 23 and 3 are third read and passed. Gentlemen from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next order of business will be announcements.
Announcements. Gentlemen from Randolph.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. In about 30 minutes downstairs in hearing room 2, there will be some pizza, and at that time there'll be pizza and some drinks. But we're going to be hearing from the anti-trafficking people, from Kate, and also from, and that's going to be down in hearing room 2 in the basement, about 11:45 Everybody's welcome. Will last right at an hour, less than an hour. Thank you. Everyone's invited.
The Rules Chairman, the gentleman from Berry County, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Rules Committee on Legislative Rules will meet right now in House Hearing Room 4, and we're going to try to be very expedient because I believe the Administrative Rules Committee meets in the same room, so we're going to try to be quick so we don't hold them up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Don't clap for him. The lady from Buchanan, the Rules Chairwoman, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The other representative is very correct. We will be meeting in hearing room 4 as soon as his hearing is, or your hearing on rules legislative is complete. So please make yourself available for that hearing. Thank you so much.
Gentleman from Jackson County, District 23. Jackson County, District 23.
There we
Proceed,
go.
Gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At 12 p.m. sharp, the Missouri Legislative Black Caucus will meet at the Governor's Mansion for lunch. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further announcements. Gentleman from Cooper.
2 announcements, if you'll allow, sir.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. Just a reminder, opening day of trout season's March 1st. We're having a big get-together at Roaring River. Come join us Friday evening for a great time, and then join us at the stream to catch some trout. The second thing, Mr. Speaker, to your right and my left, ironically under virtue, I would like to introduce or recognize former Representative Chuck Basie, who is a good friend of mine. He is in the House for a meeting, and I would ask if you're ever traveling down Highway 40 between Boonville and Midway, Chuck's property's right there on the right, so if you needed to get rid of something about then, he likes to clean it up. So please make Chuck Basie welcome.
Welcome back to the House, Representative. Gentleman from St. Charles County.
Rise for announcement.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank you for your indulgence in what I'm about to request the body. As everyone is aware, my LA, Peter McGrath, recently escaped the jaws of death, and that is, I am not exaggerating or using hyperbole. He does proceed to improve a little bit every day. So what his mom and I thought would be a great idea is if folks could gather, and we're going to take a picture. Tim's going to be kind enough, our house photographer, to take a picture of everybody waving to the camera. Tim's going to print out a poster, and we're going to send it to Peter and his family. He's still in intensive care. He's still in the hospital. He still has a long way to go, and he's not out of the woods yet. But encouragement from this body has been fantastic, and we're just going to do that in form of a printed out photo of all of us waving to the camera. And I want to thank you again, Mr. Speaker, for indulging that request.
Would all the members stand and wave to the camera as we take a picture for our colleague? Thank you. Further announcements. Gentleman from Camden County.
Announcement, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If any of the body is interested in donating to the families that were lost in the Climax Springs accident, please remember to drop your donation off in room 309 today. That's room 309. Thank you.
Further announcements. Seeing none. Gentleman from Greene County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Upon return, members should be prepared to consider House Bill 939, House Committee Substitute for House Bill 999, House Committee Substitute for House Bill 799, House Bill 563, House Bill 233, House Bill 352, House Bill 816, House Bill 629, House Committee Substitute for House Bills 296 and 438, House Committee Substitute for House Bill 538, House Bill 810, House Committee Substitute for House Bill 943, House Bill 121, and House Committee Substitute for House Bill 236. And with that, I move that the House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Friday, February 28th for a technical session, and then adjourned until 4 p.m. Monday, March 3rd, 2025.
The gentleman from Greene County has moved that the House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Friday, February 28th for a technical session, and then stand adjourned until 4 p.m. Monday, March 3rd, 2025. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes have it. The House will stand adjourned.